What up, Chicken Nuggets? Today on Sports Cards Are Dope podcast, I want to talk about why Jordan Poole is my favorite player and why he should be your favorite as well. Here's what I originally want to name this is what makes someone worth collecting. And I think that might be a conversation for another day, but I think for me, I can only attest to why I collect certain players. And I have a few players, especially basketball, that I really love collecting. But if I had to narrow down my top three, I'd say Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, and Jordan Poole. All three for different reasons. And again, I can make those other two their own eps. But MJ is kind of like, I think like every dude that grew up in the 90s, we were all borderline obsessed with Michael Jordan, like everything he did. And so I think that's just kind of like a requirement. That's like the slab before you build the house. You got to love Michael Jordan. And then unless you like were a Knicks fan, then it's like, okay, we don't like Jordan, or a Jazz fan if you're one of those. And sorry, that sounded rude. I'm sorry. Y'all are great. I'm sure. Maybe. And then Steph Curry, he was the reason I kind of got back into watching basketball as a sport. I remember back in like 2015, I saw them play in the background at a restaurant in Little Rock called BJ's Restaurant, I think is what it's called. I was eating my buddy Chris, and I saw in the background. I was like, man, that's a fun way to play basketball. So I fell back in love with basketball. But then I want to talk about the third player, and these are not in order: first, second, third. I'd probably say this player is my favorite above MJ and Steph. And I just, it was a slow roll, and so I want to give that idea because I get this question a lot because I make a lot of videos and I post a lot of content. And one of the big questions I get, besides like, why, what do you love most about SGC? One of my big questions I get is, JP, why do you collect Jordan Poole? Why is Jordan Poole like you say investment. I don't plan on selling it, but why did I just toss $900 on two Jordan Poole Black Finite 101s? And the reason is because several reasons. And to my knowledge, I am the world's largest Jordan Poole collector. I've met a couple others because very quickly it shows and they're like, who do you collect? I'm like, well, the Mount Rushmore: Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Jordan Poole. And so quickly they connect you with other people that collect Jordan Poole. So at the Houston show or Nashville show, they quickly redirected me to a table where a guy had like 5 or 6 Jordan Poole 101s. And that's who I bought 2 of those from because we connected on Instagram. And so we JP collectors stick together. So I think that there can be many reasons that people collect somebody. And I think that one of the most ridiculous things that I hear is when you collect someone, if somebody's like, well, but so-and-so's better. If we collected who the best player in the league was, we'd all be, I guess, Nikola Jokic collectors right now. He's not, I don't think I have maybe 1 or 2 cards of his, and they're both for sale. Like, I don't collect Jokic because I don't like his attitude towards basketball personally. Sorry, sounds rude, but I just call me old fashioned. I like my basketball players to act like they love playing basketball. And so I think that when we look at who we collect, there can be multiple reasons. And again, my reasons might not resonate with you, but I'd love to know in the comments, what are the reasons, who you collect, and give me a reason why you collect them. Okay, so first off, when I got back into the hobby, I was going to shows. This is first reason I started collecting Jordan Poole. So I got back in the hobby and I loved MJ and I loved Steph. But when I was going to shows, it was like the height of the COVID pricing stuff. So everything's popping off pretty hard. And so I'm going to shows and I wasn't at the point where I was even comfortable spending more than $50 on a card. So I was buying like low rent stuff, non-rookie year, MJ, Steph. And so it was like you were at the restaurant, but you were in college and you really wanted the filet, but you were like, yo, my credit card about to bounce like a city league basketball if I try to buy these things. So as a Warriors fan, getting into it, I was like, I'll pick up some of the young Warriors players. And at the time, the 2 main rookies that they had in 2019, 2020, it was 2020 when I got back into it, was Eric Pascal, which if you remember, he was like kind of their main rookie because Steph got hurt. Clay was still hurt. Steph got hurt earlier in the season. And then Draymond, they pulled him after like 20 or 25 games. And so they were, all intents and purposes, tanking like Brad Pitt and Fury. And so they were losing. So they were essentially just pushing their rookies and letting them get reps. And Eric Pascal was kind of the one that was mainly taking the helm when it came to scoring, taking the helm when it came to scoring. I think he tied. That year, that's the year Ja Morant got Rookie of the Year. I think he was tied for 6th in voting for Rookie of the Year. But then and so I was collecting him, but then also I was collecting another young player, Jordan Poole. And while I was collecting them both, and Pascal was the one that was getting more like airtime, I kind of just liked the vibe of Jordan Poole. Like the couple interviews I saw of him when he got drafted, draft night. I just liked his demeanor and the way he conducted himself in interviews. And he didn't act irritated when he was doing interviews, but he also wasn't like trying to grab the limelight. He was very like humble in how he talked, but you could also see that he was confident. And all really I knew about him was like the Michigan. You remember in Michigan March Madness, he had just come out of that where he hit that game winner and he's like screaming and running off. And I don't watch a ton of college basketball, but I was like, that's a cool moment. And I like clutch players. I think a lot of us like clutch players. And so I started picking up Pascal and Jordan Poole cards, and I was leaning more into JP. And so I would like be at shows, and if I was at a table, that's what I would ask. I'd ask for Steph and MJ, see if I had any of those. But then also I'm like, do you happen to have any rookies like Jordan Poole? Because I was able to get rookie cards of him a lot cheaper than MJ rookies. And so he was more, at the time when I first got into collecting, he was more affordable and he seemed pretty chill. And he was on my favorite team. So that was kind of the great, that was the trifecta, if you will, for me to get it. That was stage 1 of why I started collecting. He was affordable. It was like the penny stocks at the time. Stage two, and that leads into that clutch moment we saw with Michigan. He is not shy of the moment. Have you ever seen one moment that made you say like, that's my guy? I'll tell you mine. So again, known for the Michigan buzzer beater where he ran off yelling and his team's chasing him. He looked like Brandy Chastain in '99 whenever she hit the game-winning goal for Team USA. But it was his second year. At the end of his second year, the Warriors, they come off the tanking season. They tried to come back that next season, and they were in the play-in. I think it was in the bubble. They were in the play-in tournament against the Grizzlies, and it came down. I think it went to overtime. And remember, loser goes home. Winner goes on to play. I think they played Utah as the 8th seed in the tournament, and the Grizzlies had them, and I think something happened in the game in overtime, and then the Grizzlies, it was like 5 seconds, and Ja Morant hit a shot. And so the Grizzlies are up 5, and there's like 4.5 seconds left on the clock. They throw it in. JP, as a second-year player, catches it in the corner, step, like a fadeaway into the corner, nothing but the bottom of the net.
Poole, corner 3. It's good. Knocks down the 3 with 2.2 remaining. It's back to a 2-point game.
Boom goes the dynamite. Swished it from the corner to like give him because you're down 5 with 4 seconds. Like it's pretty much over. But he like in less than like a second or two, caught, turned, shot, got in his face, swished. I was like that moment, I remember that's the play when I was just like, sorry, Eric, you were great, but JP is my young player that I'm collecting. Like I'll pick up base rookies. I'll try to get better stuff. Like he was the guy. I was like, I'm doubling down. Like that shot in that huge moment to give the Warriors a chance to like when they throw it in, foul, and then try to get one more shot. Like put them in a spot where they end up losing the game, but put them in a spot where they could keep going. I just was like, that dude, like in the few moments I had seen, he was clutch. And I love that in players. And so he didn't shy away from those big moments. Okay. And so it's like, when you're down, it was like, honestly, I doubled down like Matt Damon and Rounders. It was like, don't splash the pot. That summer, I splashed the pot, okay, as Malkovich would say. I started going in on bigger cards. I went in a Facebook group and I bought like his Immaculate Auto. I bought another autograph, rookie auto, and then I bought his Silver Prism. I remember buying all those for a few $100s. Now, stage 3, okay, so he does not shy from big moments. Young player when I first started collecting, didn't shy from big moments. And the third one is they not only show up in big moments, they actually show up to games. One of the things I love about JP is that dude plays through so many injuries. He was hurt in the playoffs that year that the Warriors ended up winning it all in 2022. And I know it was the next year. He was hurt in the playoffs, but he kept playing every game. Like, dude plays. He played his last season with the Warriors. He played all 82 games. He plays almost every single game. And here's one of the other things, another layer on top of that. After I got my doctorate, we were going to celebrate. So my wife was like, hey, let's celebrate. Let's go to San Francisco and we'll see the Warriors play and we'll just hang out in California for a few days. And I was like, dope. I would love that. And so we flew out. And again, it's not super cheap to go from Little Rock to San Francisco. We flew out to San Francisco, rented a hotel for a few days, and we were going to watch them play. And I like LeBron. I like Steph. I like the Warriors as a collective. And so I was like, man, I would love to, see the Lakers play them. And so they were in town. And that's kind of what we tailored the whole trip around. And so the problem was that it was right around the time when LeBron was about to break Kareem's scoring record. And so it was like a few games, 3 or 4 games out from when we thought he was going to break it. But if he'd had a low scoring game and then he happened to miss a game, he could have broken the scoring record at that Warriors game in San Francisco. And so the tickets, and we were there, and I was like, we got to get tickets, and because I don't want to go all the way there and then not get tickets. So I ended up buying when they were on the LeBron might break the record high, the spike of that. And so I bought them kind of at their peak. They were super expensive compared to what most tickets were. So I think we paid for just lower bowl, high seats in the lower bowl, we paid $2,000 for those tickets. And then literally a day after that, LeBron broke the record, and then we were like, well, we keep going. And then after he broke the record, I don't know if you remember this, he didn't play for a few games because I guess he was just trying to get that record out of the way. He didn't play. So we're in San Francisco to see the Lakers play, and LeBron didn't play for the Lakers. And guess who else didn't play? Steph Curry. Steph was hurt that game or sat out. I don't know what it was, but he sat out that game too. So I'm sitting here, and we paid, because the price, they didn't refund my money when LeBron and Steph didn't play. So I paid those high prices, and LeBron didn't play, Steph didn't play. And I'm sitting there like, okay, cool. And happened to be one of my favorite young players, Jordan Poole, played in that game. And he was awesome in that game. Played the whole time, did great. And there was a moment in there too that this was just another layer on it. It's like there's little layers, that just kind of, you can call it confirmation bias if you want. But when you see things, you're like, oh, cool. That's just another random trivia reason I should like that person. Jordan Poole's birthday is June 19th. That's my mother's birthday. It's 4 days after my birthday, but it's also my mom's birthday. Does that mean JP is my mom? I don't know. I wasn't there. I was there, but I was too young to remember. But that's one of the little things. So I'm sitting there watching this game, and he goes and he does a layup, gets fouled, and won. Everybody's cheering. And he ran off, and the cameras only film most of the game. So he kept running past the layup, and there was a dude standing there cheering, and he had his popcorn thing. JP, during the game, reached down, grabbed some popcorn, tossed it in his mouth. Dude's yelling, cheering, and then goes and shoots and hits the free throw. And I'm sitting here thinking, in the middle of this, game, all this pressure, all this stuff's happening. Dude makes a little low-key joke, just eats some popcorn out. I respect funny. I respect, when I first got on YouTube, I was trying to be funny. Nobody thought I was. They just wanted me to teach them slope-intercept formula. But, I respect people that find those little subtle moments to be funny, even if it's just for the person sitting there holding the popcorn. And so I love that. So next stage of next layer on this onion of why I love JP is he was my first big hit when it comes to collecting. So I'm not much of a flipper. I don't sell a ton of cards. However, it is kind of cool when your stuff goes up in value. It's nice to see your ranking on card ladder and oh, cool, this was not a terrible investment. And so bought a bunch of his rookies. And again, I had a few hundred base cards, and then I had some middle to lower end, better ones. And, I got them all for a pretty good price because I was collecting him. Like I said in the first part, I was collecting him whenever he was, in and he went to the G League a little bit. He was playing on a Warriors team that was tanking. So his stuff was affordable. And then in the 2022 playoffs, the year they won everything, he goes in and I remember the first 3 games, because remember, Steph was hurt coming into the end of the season, and Clay was still recovering from his injuries, and JP was kind of carrying them there at the end of the season. Him and Clay were both kind of carrying them in points near the end of the season. And then when Steph came back at the end of the season, beginning of the playoffs, Steph sat out. Remember, he came off the bench those first couple games. So JP started as a third-year player in the playoffs. And he was averaging I think 27 to 30 points in those first 2 or 3 games. His stuff online, his cards went bananas. Bananas, Gwen. They went nuts. And I'm sitting here thinking I don't want to get rid of it, but also cards that I bought in for, at, like, I had 3 green Prism rookie PSA 9s. I bought them all for $20 each. I sold them for like 60 to 70 bucks each. Like bam, 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 eBay bids. I had a silver Prism of JP's that I'd bought for like, I don't know, like 40 bucks, 50 bucks after that season when I splashed the pot, if you will. Whenever I bought that, I had it graded with PSA. I graded like, I don't know, 40 or 50 JP cards. And I sold that thing I put it on bids. I think I bought it for like 30 or 40, sold it for $750 on bids. I was like, this is awesome. Like, I should flip cards more often. I was like, this is great. And so I just sold like 5 or 6 of his cards, not even my best stuff. I probably sold my like 10 through 15th best cards, and I made back all the money I'd spent on any of his cards ever, plus some. Now, since then, I've continued to buy and I've not sold any. So I've spent way more now than I made off that like 2-week span. But just that 2 weeks, like that was exciting. It's exhilarating when you can do that and you're selling duplicates of cards you already have and you're making back money for all those. It like justifies those spends. Fun little layer to that. The best card I have ever pulled was a Jordan Poole card. That same summer, I was doing a collab with a company and they sent me like Steph Curry, like a 2009 box. They sent me the Prism hobby box, only Prism hobby box I've ever opened of that, I think, to my knowledge. They sent me that Prism hobby box and of JP's rookie year. It was Ja, Zion, JP, and sent that hobby box. And then I got like another one. I don't remember what it was. And so they wanted to do a giveaway. So I'm opening it up and I'm giving away these cards. And they paid me like, I think it was like $400 or $500 maybe to do this. Actually, I don't even know if they pay me, or it was just like, hey, we'll give you these. You can do giveaways and you do all this work and then, you'll get attention. I'm like, on your app. I get it. I see how it works now. I was early. It was like one of my first collabs, so I was still learning on that. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, cool. So I open it up and I'm getting a Steph rookie. It was like, worth, I don't know, 50, $100. So somebody got that and I'm giving it away to people on their app that, bought within a certain time period and some breaks or something. Sorry, I was very confused in the way I said that. I'm opening up this Prism box, and I had done a lot of Prism, so I didn't know a ton about Prism because I'm usually just buying like cheap Luminance cards on everything because I wasn't spending that kind of money. But I opened up this hobby box, first hobby box I've ever opened, and I got a Jordan Poole True Gold out of 10 Prism rookie. I'm not kidding. It is one of the best rookie cards of Jordan Poole out there, and I pulled it from the box. And I'm sitting there like, open it, and I'm like, oh, this is the orange. No, that's the gold. And I look at them, that's the gold. And I even at the time didn't know how valuable the gold out of 10s were because I didn't own any of them. You didn't know what they're worth? No. Because that's not in my algorithm, people that do cards like that and breaks. That's not really my algorithm. And I had never bought one myself. I never even asked somebody like, hey, what's the price on that? Because I just figured they were all out of my league. They were. Spoiler alert, they were. And so I pull it out of there. I have to track the guy that won it was not in the live stream. I had to track him down. The company gave me his number. I texted him like, hey man, you just won a card. I have like the whole text thread. I posted a short on this. Track him down, shoot him the card. And I tried to buy it from him. I was like, hey, how much would you want to sell it for? He's my favorite player. I'd love to buy this. He was like, well, I don't know. I might grade it and I'll let you know. And then I was like, okay, sweet. And then he was like, I think he thought maybe I was going to keep it. I was like, bro, I'm going to give it to you. He was like, well, if it does well, I'll send you some Warriors gear. I'll buy you some stuff. I can, whatever. Well, I send it to him. And then I started like, after he got it, a month later or so, I like hit him up. I was like, hey, if you still have it, I'd love to buy it. And he ghosted me after that. But the rumor was he took it to the National like a week later and sold it for like $13,000. I was like, I couldn't have bought it anyways. But that card, it was numbered 8 out of 10 because I found the photos that I took of it. I have a picture of me like having it stuck to my forehead because it was very sweaty in my garage when I opened it. But whenever I had the case on it, don't think that I messed up his card. Anyway, I believe it graded a BGS 9.5, if I'm correct, because I found it again. It sold through an auction house. If you find that Jordan Poole True Gold Prism, number 8 out of 10, or if you find any Jordan Poole True Gold Prism, let me know. I will probably buy it. I'll give you a finder's fee if you can Indiana Jones that thing and get that to me. Okay? This next one, I didn't really want to bring this up because I don't like bringing up this situation, but if I'm talking about one of the big reasons I like Jordan Poole, this is it. And the thought is, how do you respond when life kind of hits you And speaking of hits, this is in reference to how he responded whenever his teammate and quote unquote one of the leaders of the team hit him at a practice. As a leader, as someone who's a leader, and I'm an educator, and as an adult and as a dad, one of the things I have come to respect in some of the best leaders and the best people and people that I like and admire and think are good is emotional intelligence. It's one of the hardest things to master, because with emotional intelligence, that is the mastery of yourself and your emotions when you are mad or frustrated or stressed. And that's how it shows how strong you actually are as a person. And so his maturity and how he handled that situation, that it's one thing to have that like a physical altercation with your teammate, but it getting put on video and then put on the internet. Like, if y'all saw his comments on his Instagram after that happened, like, I think he's gone to where not everybody can comment on his stuff now, but it had to have been because every time he posted something, people were in his comments just blasting him with this situation. Draymond Green, when he did that, and again, quote unquote leader of the team, he was 32 years old. Jordan Poole had just turned 23. I have been 23 years old and I've been 32 years old. There is a huge difference between those ages as a man. As a person, you are in a different stage of life. You are in a different responsibility. You have gone through more. And the fact that the 23-year-old handled it like an adult twice the age of the 32-year-old, that is something I can respect as an adult and as a person who has to walk through life. I respect someone who can handle that type of adversity and come through it. And the way he responded, if you guys seen clips, like my algorithm is pretty Jordan Poole. Like it's pretty Jordan Poole-ish. I don't know how to say it, not weird. But like I get thrown a lot of videos when I'm scrolling on Instagram or TikTok because I post a lot. A lot of the cards I collect are JP. And I'm always like trying to like teeter that line of like, I don't want to look like a creep. Like, hey, here's all the Jordan. It's like every Jordan Poole. But like a lot of the cards I buy are JP cards. So like a lot of the algorithm coming to me is this stuff. So I've seen interviews and clips and all this stuff from that situation that have rolled into my feed. If you go back and look, JP has handled the media and the interactions, all that stuff with such like class and humility. Like he is so good at not bringing that up and not like pointing the finger or pointing the blame. And Draymond has brought it up. He made a show of it when they came back. Like, oh, here's my little 5-minute apology thing. But from everything I've seen from the players around them and everything that happened that season, he did not go above and beyond to resolve that situation. He did not go and like when you're the one that does that to the 23-year-old and it gets put on the internet, it is your role as the, again, I'm going to say quote because I don't think he's leader of the team to go above and beyond to resolve that situation. And again, I'm not hanging out in the locker room, but every interview I've seen of anybody connected to that situation, he did not do that. He did not go above and beyond to resolve that situation. And so I respect JP and how he's handled it. And again, I don't collect. I have like one or two Draymond cards just out of like obligation to the Warriors and to Steph. So, and honestly, if you look at this, that's what that season after the championship, if you look at their home record, they were one of the top 5 teams in the league. If you look at their away record, it was down there with like the 2 or 3 teams that were tanking. What I've heard from people that are in the NBA says your away record is an indicator of your team chemistry, because when you're home, you like everybody goes to their home games, they go to their house and hang out with their families. On away games, like you're playing cards, you're hanging out, you're playing video games, you're chilling with the team, going out to dinners. Their team chemistry got divided because it was like Draymond Green, which Steph and Clay and him had been through a lot together, but then everybody else vibed with JP. You can tell whenever he goes to play the Warriors, you can tell from the vibes. Like everybody loves that dude. And so, I don't know. Even then, that recent clip, I don't know if you saw it, where the Wizards played the Warriors and he went there and they were interviewing JP and he was just like, yeah, I love those guys. I love most of those guys. Like, didn't call Draymond out. Yes, we can infer that. Like, yeah, he probably doesn't vibe with, with Draymond. I wonder why. But then Draymond has to go on his podcast and run his mouth about it and like, oh, dude, you were the one. Like, you're the problem. It's you. Taylor Swift wrote that line about you. Like, you're the issue. And like, he is either not humble enough or not self-aware enough to realize, like, you're the problem, bro. Like, I don't know. It just bothers me. Again, some people vibe with that. Some people like, whatever. He sets good screens. Okay, I get it. But I know, as a person who's dealt with a lot of different people in, work, career, interactions, I don't vibe with people like Draymond. I vibe with people like Poole. So that's why I collect him. So that's there you go. So the last reason, the fifth reason, and this was kind of like this was the classy, like, wax seal on the envelope of what made JP, because JP was in my top 3 with Michael Jordan, Steph, and then JP. But the reason Jordan Poole, I'd say, is my favorite player is because of the interaction that my youngest son Finn and I had with him at a Wizards-Grizzlies game earlier this year. So we got half-season tickets to the Grizzlies, and we'd been to I bought courtside tickets when the Wizards came to Memphis last year, and Finn and I were down there, and so, like, we're sitting there, like, we're third or fourth row back, and we didn't go to a lot of games, so we didn't really understand how it works, getting there early and trying to say hi to the players, get stuff signed, or else we'd have done it different. But we're there, and I was wearing a Wizards JP jersey, and Finn was wearing the Michigan one, and we're sitting there, and during the game, and that season, it was JP had just gotten traded, and it was just like a rough season. And again, the Wizards, the past couple of years, are trying to, like, they can't say they're trying to lose, and I don't think any of the players are trying to lose, but they change rotations. If one player's hot and they might win, they'll shift the rotation because the management wants the Wizards to lose because they're playing capture the flag this year. They're trying to get Cooper Flag. Again, there's some great players on there. It's just that team is not trying to win basketball games right now. And so that year, it was just a struggle year because all that transition. And so we're sitting there, and JP was sitting over there. And even in all this transition, having this rough season, we're sitting there, and he's just, like, watching the game. Well, he looks over our way, and Finn stands up with his Michigan shirt, and he's, like, waving, and JP just, like, points at him. Like, he just pointed at him and was like, hey, what's up? Like, kind of gave him the, like, nod of approval, and Finn, like, lost his mind. Like, it was an awesome moment for Finn. And so we didn't get to say hi or anything like that or try to get anything signed. But then this year, first of the season, we're sitting there, and we're waiting. We get there early. I used, like, my rep got me in early because we're like, we're not missing this. All the Wizards players were super kind. Every single one of them signed for Finn. He had a basketball. They all signed for him. And then JP comes around, and he's like, hey, what's up, you guys? And just was, like, super kind.
What's up? How are you doing? Can you open this for me? Nice jersey, bro. Where you guys from?
Arkansas.
I see your videos all the time.
Bro, for real?
Yeah, I knew.
Dude.
I was gonna ask. I didn't know where you guys were from.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, like, what games would be easy to come to. But
Yeah.
sometimes I come across my feed and I'll see, like, your cars all the time.
Yeah, sorry for tagging you so much, bro.
It's okay, but your energy, that's awesome.
Dude,
bro.
thanks, dude.
I appreciate it, bro.
Bro, we love you. We've been following you for, like, since you got drafted.
Yeah,
We love you.
I caught on pretty late, probably like within the last year or so.
Yeah.
But no, man, whenever I see him, I just the biggest smile.
Bro, that's
And then
super
the
dope.
Cars, yeah, keep going.
Yeah,
bro.
we do card stuff. Yeah, and education. Is that cool? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he got that for you.
This tee's for me?
Yeah, bro.
You made this? Let's go, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This actually, this jersey's from when you played Charlotte in 21.
Wow.
You wore it and scored like 31 on them.
That's fine.
Will you sign it?
Of course.
Yeah, like I bought it at auction. So
Hell yeah.
I just got marker all over.
You're
That's no good.
I'll clean it up.
My man.
It's about the memories, right?
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much,
No
man.
problem, guys. This is one of my favorite jerseys, too.
Yeah, that's a sick one.
That's a good one.
You want it back? You can have it back. No, okay.
Keep it, bro. You keep it.
Is that cool? Signed Finn's basketball that he'd gotten the team to sign. He signed, I had brought this jersey. It was a game used jersey that I bought on an auction for Christmas Eve, like 2 Christmases ago. Bought it on an auction. And he signed that and then signed Finn's Michigan jersey. And sat there, talked to us. He even said he had seen our videos because I'm guessing his algorithm's probably pretty Jordan Poole focused, I would guess. Plus, I tag him in way too many videos. JP, sorry about that. I know you didn't watch this because it's way too long a video, but thank you. And he was so kind. He even said, like, this guy walked up, was like, I'll take y'all's picture. We're like, sweet. So we took a photo. And then after, he was like, hey, I'm going to try to get you guys some stuff after the game. We didn't ask for anything. He was like, hey, I'm going to try to get you guys some stuff after the game. Where y'all sitting? We're like, we're right here. And we ended up waiting around, but I think there were like a couple other people that like asked him for stuff on the way out. And plus it was just like, he just played a full basketball game. And so we waited around, but you can imagine, like, as a player, if like 2 or 3 different like people ask you for stuff and you're, about to come out, like, then you have to like pick and choose who to give stuff. That's got to be a weird interaction. Plus, who knows? Maybe he got hurt during the game. Like, he's working on that. Like, who knows what happened? He wasn't able to come back out. But then after that, I noticed he started following Tarver Cards on Instagram. And I was just like, dude, that's just a cool thing, cool nod that he made towards us as fans of him. And so that interaction to this day remains the best interaction we've ever had with a pro athlete ever. And so that right there, and the way he talked to me and Finn, and he took the time to encourage us and talk about our content and how it was positive, and he liked the vibes we had. Like, he didn't have to do that. He did not have to acknowledge us. He didn't have to do any of that stuff. And so, I don't know. That means a lot to me as somebody who, he's got a lot going on. He's in the middle of a season. Like, all that stuff's happening. And so I respect that in players. And again, it goes to show you, again, what I said on the other one, his emotional intelligence throughout, during the middle of a game, practice, all this stuff. Like, I just respect that. I respect that in humans, and I like that in players that I want to collect. So I would love to know, if you're on YouTube, in the comments, let me know who you collect and give me a reason why you collect them. And also, don't sleep on JP. My guy, he's been cooking this season. If you've seen any of his stats, the dude has been cooking this season. And granted, the Wizards organization, players are trying to win. The organization doesn't want them to win because they're trying to get a higher draft pick. But as you guys saw with Kuzma was having not a great season on the Warriors. Like, he was not doing well. Went to the Bucks. When you play, I heard Austin Rivers was talking about this on his podcast. When you play meaningful basketball, stuff changes. And it's how quick the narrative changes on players. And I think anyone who's paying attention to JP's career has seen, like, oh my gosh, the numbers are there, the stats are there. He's doing well. He gets along with the young players. Like, he vibes with his team. The team, like he's a good dude. And there you go. I'm not going to, I've already given my other point, so I'm not going to besmirch another player again, if you will. But that's why I like JP. I think he's a fantastic young man, and I just wish him success. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you guys. Again, in the comments, if you're on YouTube, let me know. And if not, thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate you hearing me talk for however long I've talked about my favorite player and why they're my favorite player. So y'all be good, stay sweet, and never stop collecting. Sports cards are dope, and so are you. I don't know why I said it in that weird voice. Sports cards are dope, so are you. Later. Bye.